Thank you. And thank you for opening the meeting. And we'll go first to public hearings. Nothing. All right, review of the agenda and perpetual calendar. So I'll do that. On the agenda, I think the one thing, the family handbook, we're going to hold off again till the next meeting, perhaps. On the perpetual calendar for February, they note the 4 town meeting between select board members, finance committee members, and school committee members. So we'll report on that this evening. I put that in the section of reports. And the other thing is in February, there's a discussion of possible open seats on the school committee. So I'll speak for myself. I don't plan on running. So there will be that open seat. Steve, you are up this year as well, correct?
That is correct, and I am not running either.
Wow.
So my 9 years will be enough.
Okay, and was there anyone else? Julie, are you up or no?
I'm sadly real fresh on the committee, so.
Awesome.
No, we always just run against each other every time.
Or with each other.
I feel
Okay.
like, Dan and Steve have been on here as long as I've been here and longer, but I feel the need to do Jackie's wah, wah.
Yeah, this year's
Yeah.
20 years for me. So
Is that why you want to go out on a nice, even, strong number, Dan? Or do you just want to maybe spend some time more time up in Maine?
it's a number of reasons, but one is I feel really good about the Shutesbury school. I would say the culture that's been developed within the school. I love to see where it is academically, the social programs. I think the school committee is solid. I'm happy at School Union 28 with a really sound team. I'm also feeling really good about the collaborative. So, like maybe when Tom Brady left, he should have left out on top. That's, maybe that's what I'm feeling. Plus, I also serve as a treasurer for the East Hampton Chamber of Commerce, and I'm getting more involved there. I'll continue a little bit more doing some work with MOEC, which is the Massachusetts Organization for Educational Collaboratives, just to help get things moving in that direction for the MASC, MASS, and hopefully MOEC conference next year. And because I'm a lifetime member, I can still sort of do things for MASC, Massachusetts Association of School Committees. And then, yes, I'm president of a condo association up in Maine. And we've got lots of plans going on there. So,
Well,
And
I don't
Steve-
know. Going to be really hard without you two. So it's a little scary, but I'm happy for you both. But
I feel like if we're meeting in person by the time they're done, which I think we might, maybe Steven could bring us his famous cookies.
yeah, we got to have a little party or something.
Yes.
yeah,
The gluten-free oatmeal craisin dark chocolate cookies are on the menu.
I'm in.
and Steve has spent a lot of time at the region representing Shutesbury for, at least probably all those 9 years. And it's been nice to have someone down there who's dedicated to our interests, fighting for our interests, and attending all of the meetings that are there. So, and you know what? You guys are great. You'll do well. I'll probably keep my eye on the agenda a little bit, just because there's a few things that I'm a little worried that might come back to haunt us, like the outdoor school. Just to make sure everyone's sort of on that same page of following protocols and what needs to be done with that. So, all right. So I see a hand up first, Susie, and then we'll go to the warrants.
Yeah, I just want to remind people that recruiting is really important. And as town clerk, we worked on that. And you all know people in the community connected to the school. And it's really important. And I think there was 1 or 2 candidates that competed for the last time. So getting people connected is huge.
And something really, I just have to say this though, yes, we had some awesome candidates for the last time. However, both of those people are on sabbatical. So both of those people are not here at the present moment. But yes.
And I think it's good to let people know that the position is open, what it's about, but I've never really done too much with the recruiting. I think that's really important that you get people who want to serve, who are interested in it, who have a passion for serving. Sometimes, the last thing you want is someone with an agenda, but right now things are running pretty smoothly everywhere. So I think maybe it'll be someone who's just has an interest. So, all right. Warrants. Steve, you want to go over the warrants?
I do. We got a list. Do you want the number, the date, and the amount, and the day I signed it, or?
How about just the warrant number and amount?
All right. I'll do the payroll warrants first. Number 311, $86,864.16. Trevor has all these already.
Mhm.
Number 312, $84,548.43. Number 313, $86,207.68. Number 314, $85,122.88. Number 315, $83,619.34. Number 316, $84,761.95. And number 317, $86,062.38. And now for the accounts payable. Number 3012, $10,453.09. Number 3013, $25,727.86. Number 3014, $5,093.08. Number 3015, $33,042.34. Number 3016, $15,871.30. And 3017, $41,358.50. And that's all of them.
Trevor, you got all those?
There's a couple I don't have. So could you give me the date on account the 3017?
Yeah, that's the newest one. The 3017 is dated 2/21/2023. Did you see? I sent them to you in an email around 6.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I can just get it from there. Hold on a second. Oh, there they are. Okay, I got them. Thanks.
Great. So let the record show that those have been submitted into our records. Thank you. Any gifts? Okay. Grants? No. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from January 22nd, 2023?
So moved.
Okay.
Second,
Awesome. All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Rose, I.
Martell, I.
Sullivan, I.
Great, thank you. I should have asked if there were any amendments. I did read through them. I didn't see anything. It all looked good to me. Trevor, you do a great job, so thank you. All right, unfinished business, capital projects. Steve, can you talk anything about what's going on there?
Yeah, so the Buildings Committee met on Monday and we had received a proposal from Gale and Associates for, I believe, $625,000 or so for a new roof. And the Buildings Committee approved that. And we passed it on to the select board, who it looked like Melissa signed it and Dan, you signed it. And it's sitting in the school committee mailbox, ready to roll. So now it's time to go out and find some proposals.
Right, and I think Jennifer, you had to sign that one. Is that the thing you had to sign? Okay. Excellent.
So, I did sign the electronic copy, but I haven't been able to get a hold of anybody to sign the wet signature one. So Pam and I are working on that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I saw emails going back and forth, so. And then with the capital planning committee, are there any talks or discussions about the kitchen floor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the capital planning, we met last night and we just tabled the kitchen floor because we don't have any quotes. We're waiting on Matt for that. But we're looking forward to them and approving them, but we just don't have any. So we meet again on the either March 7th or 21st, depending on when we get them.
Okay, so Matt is getting the quotes on those.
He's gonna try, but it's not like they can just happen overnight. So
Of course,
I think he
of
does
course.
have one. I think he does have one, and it's from the place we always use, which is Summerlin Floors. There's not actually a lot of places around here. So he's gonna try to get in, but he's also doing the entire phone system and everything else that's going on right now. So
Good.
So we discussed that last night, and Summerlin always comes in way lower. So we're going with historic preference and just accepting the Summerlin, although we have a couple of people would like to see more, but we understand that they're always the lowest.
It is good when you have a track record with someone that you've been working with in the past. So let's hope.
I mean, and over the past 9 years, we've replaced almost the entire school floor, and they've done a really awesome job.
Right.
And they're
Amazing.
like dependable and fast and clean and kind, and yeah.
Awesome, great. And then the boilers, I believe on the recommendation from the finance committee, the select board both voted not to accept the proposal for moving forward with the boilers, because I think it sounded like it was a much more expanded project than just what we were looking for. So that has been, so we're not doing that. And the boilers are in good condition, so I don't think we'll be doing anything with the boilers. There's nothing that's immediate or concerning. And after our last meeting with Nate Hurd, maybe the Energy Committee working with the Buildings Committee can come up with a great renewable source for the future. All right, anything else on capital projects or building? Great. School choice funds, I think that's just been on there. I think we have a pretty good plan that we're following from the administrative team. That's been given to the finance committee as well. And we'll talk a little bit more. I think the finance committee was looking for some additional information. I think kind of a historical pattern of how those funds have been used in the past. That was a discussion at the last meeting with the finance committee. And we are waiting to hear from the finance committee sort of more of what they would like for us or from us before we do anything. So we'll wait to hear from you on that. Okay, Susie? Great, thank you. School safety features. Jackie, any progress on that?
Yes, so I sent you an update about the phones, so they're being installed over February break next week, I think Tuesday. And then we're gonna go live on March 1st, and we're very excited, and the new headsets are quite fancy, well, at least the office ones. But we're really just looking forward to working phones and the ability for caregivers to leave a message. So we're really excited about that, and we really thank everyone for helping us get this pushed through pretty fast. But as you know, with Debbie Lee, pushed through with like really quality work put behind it. So that's it with the phones. And now safety committee is kind of shifting our focus towards the cameras that we want. And phones were for the first priority and the first push, obviously. And now we're pivoting, and Matt and Debbie have been in meetings all this week around some video type options. And that's where we are. And when we have a proposal or an idea of where to go, we'll bring it here.
Great, I'm glad to hear that, and I do look forward to hearing more information on that. I do think it's important for a number of reasons, even for our superintendent to be able to look to see, you know, how's that snow piling up out there. It is kind of nice to have that. Okay. New business, the FY24 budget draft. The administrative team, after having met with the finance committee and listened to their input, did refine that budget. Susie, did you get that as well? Okay, it did.
Not yet. We weren't able to meet and finalize it until this afternoon.
Yeah,
It
so
is
Susie.
relatively fresh.
Yep. So Susie, just so you know, it was something that they've been working on. We did get it late this afternoon. I'm not even sure if all the school committee members have had a chance to look at it. But they did take into consideration some of the conversations that happened. So we'll be sure to get you a copy of that.
Great.
And Caitlin can walk through the changes that were made in the budget today, if that would be helpful to committee members and
Yeah.
and the rest of the attendees.
Caitlin, you want to take it away?
Yes, please. Okay. Can you see my screen all right?
Yes.
So I'll finish with the budget summary, but I want to highlight some of the changes to the budget. Line 2, school committee advertising. We decreased from 1,500 down to 1,000 because it's not typically a line that we use all of the funding for. Most of the rest are Union 28 lines that we can't touch because that budget has been approved. All of the instruction lines stayed the same because most of them are salary based, and without massive changes to or any changes to personnel, we have to fund those lines for what their contract is. So the instruction line, the 2,042,763 has not changed. But lines 71, 72, and 73 all have. For 71 health supplies, we decreased from 1,500 to $1,250. For special ed transportation, which is used occasionally, but it's not funded to handle if we were to have a out of district placement. It's just, that's not what the funding is kind of there for. That would kind of leave us in a very different position where we'd be having to find funding from a daily basis of special ed funding for special ed transportation. So we decreased that line from $10,000 to $7,750. Line 73, food service. The food service revolving, we are hopeful that it continues to be mostly sustainable and we can decrease the amount that the budget allows for the general ledger to help out. Line 76, fuel, that was our biggest. We'd originally budgeted for 51,000, trying to be cautious about, I mean, we've had a very mild winter this year. And with the uncertainty of fuel costs, we wanted to kind of put our efforts into raising that line to meet what could be happening next winter. But we've decreased it back down to 35,000 from 51,000. So we decreased it by $16,000. Line 77, school telephone, now that we have a better idea of what those expenses will be, we decreased from 6,500 to 5,000. And lastly, line 96, community services. Jackie and I went back quite a few years, and we're not sure historically why that line exists or what it was used for, because from what we can tell, it hasn't been used. And we're not sure what the appropriate uses would be for community services. Everything that is sort of we're using right now to support our school community that we have other lines for. So we've decreased that down to from $1,000 that was never touched to $0. So we were at let me go back up to the budget summary. We were at a 5.14% increase in total uses of funding. We're down to 4.10. We had a 4.83% increase for net spent for the net total. So when we remove the grants, we're at 3.72 now. The budget went from $2,541 or $2,541,501 to $2,516,501 for the total use of funding, a decrease of $25,000.
Okay, hold on real quick. Any school committee members have any questions regarding the changes? Okay, I just was looking at one, which was on my phone, so it's really small. So can you repeat that last net total amount? Because I think I may have heard you incorrectly.
Oh, yes, that was, I was stating the total use of funding amount. So the net total for the town would be $2,334, or sorry, $2,334,670.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't say a lot of numbers in the millions these days. Just in budget meetings.
So Steve and I were at that meeting as well. So we listened to the finance committee. Obviously, you know that we do the best that we can to estimate. You know, we are a little concerned about the fuel. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we're hopeful that these changes are all going to be sustainable. So are there any questions from school committee members or anyone for that matter? All right. Do we have a motion to approve the FY24 budget in the amount of $2,334,670, an increase of 3.72%? And say so moved, it'll be easier, I think.
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, any other discussion? Thank you for your hard work, all of you. All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Rose, I. Martell, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay. And then I believe it'll be the next meeting, we'll have the hearing where public can come as well. And then we'll have that final vote then. Let's see if there's any changes, like not a final vote, but a public hearing. Okay. All right, school improvement plan. Is on the agenda. Who wants to address that?
It's me. It's a draft, so it's not really, I'm just gathering feedback right now because our school council wasn't able to completely finalize it because of some absences. But this is what we have as a draft, and I guess I'm just going to present it as feedback, and also because it's the work we are already doing. And you might just be interested in hearing about the work that we're already doing in the school. And yeah, so I shared with you the documents earlier this evening. And the way I organize the SIP is I have 2 goals, but like major overarching goals, but then there's various action steps underneath. So it's really like one goal, but it has like 5 parts. And so the first one is SES SIP 2023 goal 1. And I'm just assuming that you're all able to kind of pull it up because I sent it earlier today. Is that the case?
No.
I did share it with Martell J at shutesburyschool.org. I can resend it, or I can just share my screen if I can have access.
If you could share your screen, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Hold on a second.
It's how Susie's anxious to see it too.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Chrome, share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see this little bar here, or can I just see that? I'm just gonna move it. Okay. And let me move this over because I don't like that. Okay, so the first goal is under curriculum planning and instruction. And lots of places organize their SIPs in different ways. This is just the way that I feel like for the teachers and I makes the most sense. So the area for improvement is curriculum planning and instruction. And our goal is to plan, implement, and assess an aligned, rigorous, and engaging curriculum, and to monitor the progress of our students in achieving proficiency. And the outcome would be that Shutesbury elementary students will engage in rigorous, engaging, and aligned instruction, authentic and meaningful student assessments, and data-driven interventions to become proficient readers, writers, scientists, and mathematicians. And the first part of that is, and you'll see in here, like there's hyperlinks everywhere that people could click to kind of get more information about the things I'm talking about if you're not in a school or understand school words. Is that we will provide an engaging, rigorous, explicit, systematic, and evidence-based instruction at all levels of literacy development with a focus on phonics and phonemic awareness and the science of reading, which is the hot topic right now in literacy education. And that SES will pilot a new literacy curriculum. It's called EL. In K through 6 this year, which is what we're doing. So you can see in the action step details that there's a link to that curriculum that people can look at, and it talks about all the steps that we're going to take to ensure that we're doing what we need to as a public school, but also what fits into our philosophies at and our beliefs at SES in itself. And then if you can see all the resources we might use, but then you can see over on the far side, it says that all curriculums are researched using ed reports as well as a mass DESE curriculum tool like Curate. And what that means is like, we don't want to just do something because we like it or that we think it might fit into something that we need, but we want to make sure that like the top people in the field have really looked at this and they are recommending it, or they also feel like it might be that it is a good tool for us to be using in 2023. And so everything that we are looking at and piloting do fall very strongly in all of these places. So that's the first thing we're doing. And I'm not going to like read every bullet, but I'm happy to talk about it with anyone who wants to. And like I said, I'm not really looking for a vote tonight. I'm kind of just like giving you a first look and gathering some feedback. So it feels like this is a lot because the next thing is that we are researching and examining new math curriculum with a focus on adherence to MAP state standards, explicit instruction, number sense fluency, student practice, and intervention. And again, teachers are going to be piloting units from particularly 2 favored math curriculums this spring, and we're going to report our findings this spring. So it feels like a lot to be doing this, 2 major subject matters at the same time, but the pandemic really made us think and look about our curriculum and the needs of our students, and also our shifting and changing world. And so, and it's not just Shutesbury. I mean, you'll probably hear there's a lot of districts doing the same work right now, almost every district in our union. And also, I have the most phenomenal teachers that I think I've ever worked with at Shutesbury right now. And that is pretty, like, they are incredible. And a lot of this work are of our teachers invested in this, bringing these things up and wanting to engage and try it. So it's coming as like a full ground up change, and certainly not a top-down change, which makes our culture and climate super exciting right now. It's like we have masterful teachers really engaged in finding the best fit for our school and our kids, and it's really exciting. So anyway, the two major curriculums that we're looking at, well, this was earlier in the fall, but we've kind of narrowed it down to 1. But the 2 major curriculums that we were examining were the illustrative math and bridges math. And we've done a lot of work with this already. Really our math coach, April Cannon, who had been our former 3rd grade teacher for many years, has done a phenomenal job leading the staff through examining these pieces and looking at research. And we've really, as a staff, come to think that bridges might be a better fit for us. And so many of the teachers, I think almost every grade level at this point, is going to pilot 1 or 2 units from that curriculum this spring to see what they think and how they feel. I've already seen some doing it in classrooms now. And we're collecting feedback on that, and we're looking at student data, and then we're going to really talk about it this spring and into the summer to see if it's something we want to move forward with. So those are the 2 big, huge things that we're working on with a lot of enthusiasm. But at the same time, we're continuing to look at science and social studies. However, something really cool is that the EL curriculum infuses a ton of that into it. And so students are reading and doing reading units that incorporate science and social studies. So you're kind of grabbing both at the same time. Continuing our work with UDL and ensuring growth, equity, and access for all students. And then finally, the parents on this call will see tomorrow that we are revamping and realigning our school report cards to be mass standards based with updated standards, including social emotional goals. And that started last spring, and it has continued into the fall, and it's a really big undertaking. We collected examples of standards-based report cards from across the state. We kind of looked at the language and the terms and the layout on how all of these schools have done it. This report card had been the same since I've been here, so almost 10 years, and it was really time for a refresh. Things have changed. We will always be like a standards-based school with a lot of narrative, because that's how our community is, and we love to be able to give that to our families. But our report card did need an overhaul. So we had to do the research of the standards. We had to do the research of the layout, how we wanted to grade students. We don't use A, B, C, D, F here in elementary school. We use terms instead about approaching and or on benchmark, things like that. And we've even had to tweak that. Then we had to actually mock it up and put it into our Power School system, which is a whole other thing. And then teachers had to use them. So our first attempt is rolling out tomorrow with the families and hoping to get some feedback on that. And of course, we want to edit and adapt them. If it's not providing the right feedback for families on their students' progress, then of course we want to take a look at that and edit it to make sure that it does. Nothing is in black and white. We can always make things better. So that's the first goal. So like I said, it's a goal, but it's really like 5 goals inside 1 goal. And then the second goal that I've organized into the frame of culture, climate, and community. And the goal for this one would be to promote students' creative and interpersonal skills and connections to community, and to foster a school environment of respect, kindness, and trust. And that Shutesbury Elementary students will engage in meaningful and varied creative opportunities for learning and expression. And the school community will operate in a culture of respect, kindness, and trust. So I have 3 major goals. We have 3 major goals in this goal, 3 major action steps. The first is to continue our implementation of our social emotional curriculum, Choose Love, and infuse it with PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention and supports best practices to create school-wide expectations and celebrations. And so we've already been in the process of doing this. Again, these are things that we are already doing. And, you know, something I'm really proud about in Shutesbury is that 100% of our students have tier 1, which means everyone has it on a base level. Tier 1 access to our school counselor or psychologist every week, because those are the people that get into the classrooms and teach our social emotional program, Choose Love. And it isn't just Choose Love. They do infuse best practices and other things too, but it is our base. It makes a huge difference in culture for that to happen for students. And then I think I've already presented them to you. We do have our school expectations: choose respect, choose kindness, choose safety, choose love, which I presented to you. Those are the 4 school-wide expectations that we use across settings. And so what that does is it helps have consistent language with adults and students on how to address behavior, on how to address any other kind of expectation that is going on. And we infuse that into all of our school assemblies. We now have a moose mascot that helps teach some of these expectations. We have a 6th grade leadership team that helps teach those expectations. And it really develops kind of an even playing field for everyone in the school, because we all understand the words and expectations that are needed to be having a great and safe time at school. So let's see. SES will continue our work in diversity, equity, and inclusion by examining our curriculums and resources and providing explicit and targeted PD to staff. And that is also already in the works. We have collaborated with the collaborative, and all staff is taking a social justice and equity in schools course right now, particularly leaning into important conversations that need to happen as we all grow our understanding in anti-bias and anti-racist work, examining our curriculums and classroom materials for bias, and examining our new curriculum in particular to ensure that we feel like it's socially just, anti-bias, anti-racist literature and lessons. And then one of my things that I think is the most important is that Shutesbury is going to continue to offer a variety of enriching, joyful, in capital letters, joyful, creative, expressive, and leadership opportunities for students to experience and grow from. And, you know, the pandemic put a little damper on some of the special things that make our community really important, and they are coming back to life, which is great. But the joyful piece of school is one of the most important aspects for me as a school leader. And I want to really make sure that there's stuff that make all of the kids feel like there's something that they can be great at, try at, succeed at, feel seen in, and offer their specialness to the community. So that's that third piece. So I am going to stop sharing. So that's the draft of our SIP. Yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay, so you are ready for input questions?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Who would like to start?
I'd like to just share that I've been here 8 years, and it's so nice to see all of the principals working together to tie their school improvement plan to our district strategic plan. So it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of collaboration and communication, but I'm really proud of that work this year.
Jen Taylor.
Thanks, Dan. Jackie, I first of all want to say how much I love our school culture and how I don't know what we're going to do when we're not at SES anymore. Oh, I know.
I don't want to think about it.
I know.
I've known that kid for a long time.
I know. I also am just wondering about social justice curriculum in general. I know that some teachers really put a hard focus on it and others not so much, and just like wondering where we are at standardizing some social justice curriculum, and if we've considered doing any kind of intergroup dialogue or something more dynamic in the way of social justice. And I know we had talked about maybe doing like a Spanish story hour at lunchtime or something like that, of course, pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. So it didn't ever really get fully implemented. But I think it'd be great to get something bilingual going on at the school if possible.
Yeah. Yeah. The wanting to incorporate language is a thing that comes up. I mean, we had a little break during the pandemic, but it is something that I hear from people, you know, not infrequently. And money is a tricky thing, but we did have several staff members that had some abilities with some language pieces that we were going to try to infuse that. And that's something that I can, bring back. We have not approached it again. We've been digging ourselves out of the hole, but we're feeling a lot better now. So it's a time where that could maybe happen. In terms of the curriculum, as a staff, and when I interview people, there are questions about diversity, equity, inclusion that we ask, because it is as a staff community, that's one of our major priorities at school. So people know when you're hired at Shutesbury that's what our philosophy is. We do engage in a lot of conversation about it. And then even at the union level, that's one of our major goals too. And so it's part of the work that we're trying to infuse down in the PD, and having the teachers do their own self-work around that, so that they're able to lead it in a comfortable way, because the adults want to know, like, I'm not sure what terms to use. Like, how do I say that? Like, how do I address these things when they come up? That's the work that they have to do as adults. But in terms of curriculum, I really suggest you look at that EL curriculum link that you'll see. One of the reasons why our school was so attracted to that curriculum is because of their infusion and dedication to social justice. And so a lot of the units are around that. And that's one of the reasons why we're really interested in going forward with that. And it's just really good stuff. But that is I hope that answers your question on that part.
Great,
There's always a lot to learn in that section, Jen.
Steve, you had your hand up first.
No, I'm good. Thank.
Okay, Susie?
I wonder with bringing on different curricular, systems, I don't see anything in the budget to fund materials for materials. Is that true?
Yeah, things are different nowadays. And when you order curriculum, you don't get like 200 hardcover copies of a textbook, right? So what's different about curriculum is that, yes, there might be supplies that we need to buy, like multiple copies of books, and things like that. The actual resources are oftentimes free, or you have to pay for the teacher manuals. So for example, EL, we pay for professional development to learn about the curriculum, and we pay for the books that we use for the kids to be reading, and we do pay, you know, some sort of fee for the teacher editions and things like that. But it's not the same heavy lift as you know, giving all of the kids like a textbook and giving all of the kids that type of thing. It's a little bit different. So there will be some sort of cost for both things, but because the base, like for Bridges too, it's like to get access some of the curriculum, it's free. For a lot of the materials, you do have to pay for it. However, we have a lot of those materials. They're just not like labeled Bridges. You know, we have blocks and we have, you know, base 10 cubes, and we have clocks, and we have, you know, all of these things. Will there need to be a little bit of funds to get some stuff? And yes, but we already have built into our budget the money to buy our student activity books and to buy, you know, the updated version of this tech piece that we use, because it's all, a lot of it's tech based too, in terms of slides and things that teachers might use to teach a lesson. So it's not the same thing like it was even 10 years ago, Susie, where I'd be like, I need $25,000 to do the new thing of, you know, investigations. It's like different, which is a good thing. So that is why you don't see the increase in that, because we can feasibly do it. ESSER did help because I did buy some things with ESSER this year.
All right, well, I'm going to make a few comments myself. It's a great plan. I really appreciate seeing such a thorough plan of curriculum, as well as the social and emotional piece, and the other pieces, which I think kind of ties into really what Jennifer brought into Union 28, which is universal design for learning. So it's nice when you are approaching things as opposed to a change. It's a continuous evolution and a process of living these things, you know. So I think that's great. Jennifer, you did answer my question about the union. I think it's great that each school has a lot of autonomy. I think it's great if we can learn from each other and perhaps, you know, look at who is utilizing things in a better way or a more efficient way, or having better results. And it's good to compare and contrast. I had two sort of questions. Well, I also wanted to say I appreciated the part about the teacher support, because that has been sort of the culture at the Shutesbury Elementary School. And it is nice when there is change in administration, that the new administrator realizes that it is done differently here. And that's why it's successful, when you have people who are in the trenches, you know, working with students and involved in all of this, getting the professional development, that they can bring forward the curriculum that they think is ideal. So obviously our students segue into Amherst. Is there any alignment there, or?
So Amherst, that we can understand, does not have the same literacy program in every building. So everyone's doing something a little bit different. A lot of them are still utilizing the Teachers College Reading and Writing Workshop, which we had utilized in the past. but with the new research coming out, that's totally not the best fit. And we were already feeling that anyway as a school. And we were leaning more towards the EL lens of things. In terms of math, they're using, oh no, I forget the name of it right this second, but it's, it has a huge computer base to it. And a lot of schools are using it. Springfield's using it too. And I don't know how I'm blanking on the, Jen, do you know the
Is
name
it
of
open source?
No.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name right now. But the benefit of it, when you have a large school district that particularly might have a lot of ELL students, there's a real benefit to having a big computer-based aspect to your math program, because in a teacher shortage, or if you don't have the human power to be able to get to certain things, the computer thing feels a little more safe. It's not only computer, but there's like a large portion of their block on a computer. Then there is some teacher instruction, obviously, but as a school, we didn't feel comfortable with the tech piece, though we do have, as you know, we utilize tech in school. It's important for students to have those skills. It's really engaging for a lot of kids. They need to be able to test on a computer. They need to just have those skills in this world. We weren't like ready to have a lot of our instruction focus go towards with tech. So we really appreciated the Bridges curriculum more. So no, it is not the same as Amherst. But
And I don't think we have to be, for sure. I do think that sometimes it is nice if there's some sort of continuity, but I don't even know how you do that. But I'm happy to hear that we are doing what we think is really best in terms of curriculum and not trying to match
Right.
or align.
And the thing is, Dan, is that particularly our 6th grade teacher is like hyper focused on the Mass State standards. And our feeling is that if our students know the standards inside and out, then they should be able to go down into 7th grade and have the skills they need to be able to do well. And obviously, as you can see, we score decently in math. And so particularly in the upper grades, so they do have the skills they need. Hopefully it will be able to marry in down the hill in a good way.
I do have one more question, but Steve, did you have the answer to what?
Oh, he might know the curriculum.
I don't know the curriculum, but I was super excited in 2019 when we got rid of IMP and went to this new one. But it turns out that partway through the first year of the pandemic, the math teachers threw it out because it was terrible. And they've been flying by the seat of their pants trying to come up with new things since then on their own, and they're working through it. But yeah, whatever that was is gone.
Yeah, and Steve, I was talking about the elementary school. They have something different, but the middle school, we did ask. We just sent, I think, an email this fall that said, "Can you please tell us what you're using so our 6th grade teacher can look at it and look at the language?" And they had a hard time telling us what exactly they were using. It kind of felt like it was a little bit of a hodgepodge going on.
Yeah, that's why. But it was set up so 6 to 8 had one curriculum, because they were prepping to get their 6th graders into the middle school. But yeah, it's a hodgepodge right now.
Great, thank you, Steve. So Julie, before I come to you, I did want to ask my question, which is all related to sort of the math piece of this. And I know that we have invested in a math coach for a number of years. And is that a full-time position?
No, it's in the original budget. I think it was a 0.5 or a 0.6. And then remember, I came and I asked if I could use point whatever of this to make it a 0.8 so that I wanted her to lead this work in particular. She also does math interventions for kids who need it. So this is not just she also works with kids all day. So I needed someone to also help lead this. And so that's why I asked for it for that temporary time.
I believe we went from a 0.6 to a 0.8 using that 0.2 difference in school choice money.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And math coach is obviously involved in this process of looking at the new math curriculum, is getting training and or whatever and all
Yeah,
of that.
she's leading it. Mhm.
Awesome.
And actually, the math leaders and the other buildings in the union are calling her to talk about
Great.
it. She has a lot of knowledge and she's put a lot of time into it.
Great, thank you. Those are all the questions for me. Julie, you had your hand up for a minute. Anything?
I just wanted to say experientially as a parent, I have two 10-year-olds in 5th grade who are so excited about their civil rights, like living history situation that they like one of them came home today and like read out her speech and like has outfits planned already and is so excited that she was like, is it allowed for us to work on the speech with you over the February break? And I was like, I'm pretty sure they'd be happy about that. But yeah, we can definitely work on it. So they are both joyous and so excited about that kind of thing. So I'd like double thumbs up from us.
Mhm. All right, any other questions or comments, feedback for Jackie? I don't think you were expecting a vote this evening, but I'm prepared if someone wanted to make a motion to accept the plan as presented. Obviously, Jackie, I know that any input moving forward, whether it be between now and the next meeting or now and the next 6 months, you would take. So
Yeah,
Do we-
definitely.
I'll
we
make
have
a
a mo-
motion to accept.
the school
I'll second.
improvement plan as presented.
Sorry, yes, the school improvement plan as presented.
Excellent. And Julie, you seconded? Okay, just want to make sure we got that. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye?
Rose eyes.
Great.
Martella.
And as I mentioned,
Sullivan,
family,
I.
thank you, Steve. As I mentioned, family handbook is not going to be discussed tonight. And then as far as reports, I'll just start off. I think we've already talked about the 4 towns report. I'm sorry, the finance committee report. The other report I wanted to talk about real quick would be the 4 towns, and that's related to the region. Steve, you were at that meeting as well. Is there anything that you want to say or just cap it off real quick?
Yeah, I was really happy to, we're struggling to come up with a contract with the APEA in the 3 schools or 3 districts in Amherst. And I was really happy to hear that all 4 towns strongly said that, no, that they support the school committee and saying, no, we don't have the money.
Right, so we, as 4 towns, looked at the Amherst regional budget. The budget has an assessment piece, which is something we've talked about for years, which is using the state method with some modifications, which are called guardrails, which prevent sort of an over amounted of percentage for towns. And everybody seemed to be in agreement with the final numbers and the assessment method that we were using. This will be the 2nd year in a row that we're using that method. And so that all went pretty well. And what Steve is alluding to is they're in contract negotiations with their teachers. And I think where it stands is the teachers are looking for a pretty significant increase. And the towns were not really prepared for the amount of increase because they were talking, and Susie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they were talking in the millions.
Yeah, it was over 2 million more. But I do have to say that though, that meeting was amazingly smooth, and that with Shutesbury, what we've been asking for a long time, that it was nice to see it a 2nd year in a row, but in the guardrails are a nice added benefit too.
Yeah, great. So any questions in that area? All right, yes, Susie.
I think also there's, the governor's budget won't be out till March 1st. I don't think there's gonna be a lot more money. And I understood it was $1 million more would be needed for the salary proposals in this coming year, and then it goes to 2 million after that. And so unless major funding streams change, those numbers were too hard to wrestle with, especially because we have a lot of capital expenses on the plate. And so not all salaries would have gotten a step raise. So for some people, it really was looking at 2.5. And when we have Social Security going up 8%, that feels really hard for people to not be going up more than 2.5. Some people have step increases, so they'd really be going up more like 4.8, I think they said, but not everybody gets those step increases. So these are hard times. And, I'm hoping the governor is working on some funding. I don't know that it'll make a difference for Amherst.
Okay, thank you. All right, superintendent's report.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Just as a thank you at this meeting, the Union 28 budget was approved at the end of January, and I really appreciate all of the work that our joint supervisory committee members go to, and the time and attention they pay to crafting that budget. Caitlin and I, along with principals, continue to work on budgets for all 4 schools. We're in different places with different towns, and we've either had or are planning meetings with select board and finance committee members, as well as public hearings. A couple of weeks ago, Aaron Saunders, who's the state representative for the 7th Hampden district, and that district serves Belchertown, Ludlow, New Salem, Pelham, Petersham, Shutesbury, and Wendell, reached out to me to discuss the PFAS issue we have at Swift River School. And he visited Swift River along with quite a crowd from Boston. We had people from the DEP and a lot of other folks from Boston. And it was nice to hear, along with Joe Comerford, that Representative Aaron Saunders is eager to assist New Salem, Wendell, and Swift River in addressing the PFAS issue. We continue to do newsletter outreach from the Union 28 perspective. We send out our monthly central office newsletters to staff and committee members, and Union 28 does an update quarterly to family and community. So we will continue to do that, to share news both at the school and union level, as well as the state and legislative level. Looking at DESE, I submitted our rural school aid reports at the beginning of February. I do those reports, as you know, one for each school. When we start thinking about efficiencies in Union 28, would be ever so nice to do one, maybe with 4 subheadings. Also, Student Opportunity Act is a plan that we submitted way back in January of 2021. And then last April, we had to submit comprehensive amendment updates to our original plans. Both of these were shared at school committee meetings. And now we are looking at the Student Opportunity Act progress report, and we will need to do an extensive report to DESE on our progress in implementing our plans. And then next spring, we will be asked to submit new 3-year plans. Many school districts received more than $1.5 million, and they have extensive reporting. We didn't receive a lot of increased Chapter 70 funding with the Student Opportunity Act, although we did receive some, but we are still doing the same kind of progress reports for DESE. Also at DESE, in looking at special education, they have what's called the IEP, or Individualized Education Plan Improvement Project. And this project comprises a suite of resources and support for schools and families. It includes guidance on student referral, evaluation, and eligibility, And then they will be updating the new IEP forms and also offering technical assistance to support implementation of the updated forms. There's going to be a process guide with instructions to go with those new forms. As well, parents will get an updated guide to special education. There will be a playbook to support collaboration between general and special education teachers, and our Director of Student Support, Karina Wislow, has been attending webinars along with her assistant, Jen Spofford, and they will be sharing information with our student support services liaisons. And lastly, at the state level, the Readiness and Emergency Management in Schools Center provided some virtual training this week on school behavioral threat assessments. And so lots going on at the state level, lots going on in our districts. And I attended a staff meeting with our curriculum coordinator, Lindsay Rodriguez, and she just did a wonderful job in talking about curriculum and implementing curriculum. And one of the topics that came up was the exciting visit that other Union 28 schools had at Shutesbury Elementary, and people were really just buzzing about the visit and ways that they could implement what Shutesbury is doing.
Great. So just a quick question. So when you talked about the IEP, is Ginny Tate involved in that? I know she used to be.
Yeah, I don't know if she's doing any of the webinars through DESE. I know it's been DESE personnel that Karina's been working with, but our legal counsel is still Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane. We work with Alicia St. Florian, and I'm sure she will be of assistance too. But Ginny still does our updates to special education law and 504s. And we typically try to attend it. It's full of information, and Ginny has just a great way of presenting information that keeps you engaged on a rather dry subject.
Great, thank you. And any other questions for Jennifer? No? All right. Director of Finance and Operations, Caitlin.
Hi. So we're still in the middle of budget season. Most of us have been very busy with internal meetings about the budget, school committee meetings, finance committee meetings, select board meetings. For the first time, like I was always looking forward to February break when I was a teacher because I got the week off. And now, even though I'm working through the week, I'm really looking forward to February break because I don't have any evening meetings. And that feels fantastic for a week of nothing at night. So that will be a nice little break, and then we'll jump back into it. I've been completing the AAC claiming forms for Medicaid reimbursement for the first and second quarter of this fiscal year. Shutesbury's report is almost complete. I'm just waiting for some information from the town, and then they should be all right to receive their reimbursement for Medicaid. And finally, our bi-weekly grants meetings have turned into weekly meetings. Usually it was me, accounts payable, and who covers the ESSER grants. And then we had Jen Spofford and Karina Wislow and Lindsay Rodriguez. We would all get together and talk about the grants. And we decided to hold them weekly and have our principals invited one at a time. So Jackie was sort of our kickoff event of having having our first principal in, and it went really well. And it felt like we'd always talked about grants and talked about the schools, but we never included the school itself in a way that we could just sit there candidly and have a conversation about, what amendments we might need to make and where we could adjust some of do some journal entries. So it was really great. It felt like we didn't understand that there was a missing piece to the meeting until we started having the principals, and then we realized there was always a missing piece to the meeting. So we're really excited to continue the meetings. Every month, every 4 weeks, we'll rotate through each of the principals and include one of them at a time. And I'm also finding that meetings with the schools, even though we're Union 28 and we work with 4 schools, trying to have meetings with 4 schools at a time with unique different parts is not always as effective as having one meeting with one principal or one school or on one part of it where we can talk directly about the needs of that school. So one of the things from the grants you'll notice, looking at the expenditure report, which looks pretty good and what we would expect, is the instructional supplies line has gone over, but we have some plans for some of the amendments for the grants to be able to cover that. Any questions or comments about my report?
I don't. Anyone else? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Principals report.
Well, you've already heard me talk a lot tonight, but I will just say a few very quick things. One
We
thing
love
is-
to hear you talk, Jackie.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is that we decided that the artist in residence this year is going to be me and our music teacher, Mike Cortina. And we're doing a full school play that Mike and I are directing together. And I think the parents on here have probably heard about it. And it's called Pirates, and it's like a 45-minute musical, and the entire school is involved in various ways. Mike's going to be teaching the music, and then I'm going to be doing the rest of the shindig. And the kids are very excited about it. I've done this play with, I've done this 3 other times in my career, so I know the play very well. And it's very sweet and cute. But what it means is that that is going to be our artist in residence. It's going to be our major focus in the spring. We are going to perform it for some of our sister schools in the Union. They're going to come and see it. And then we're going to have a nighttime performance for the families, obviously. And I'm going to need, community support with some of the costumes, and but we're going to rent a backdrop of a pirate ship, and it's going to be really fun. And the kids are very into it. So
Is this primarily Gilbert and Sullivan
no,
music? Is that what's happening?
this is very elementary school musical.
It's Cortina and Mendonça.
Cortina and Mendonça.
Well, she
Yeah.
is very model of a modern new
Got to
elementary
see The
principal.
Little Mermaid. Our expectations are. The
Yes.
bar is
Oh
set
my
very,
God.
Okay, yeah.
very high.
Those production levels,
It was
please.
amazing, Jack. You were amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, no, it's not going to be that level. But our littlest kids are going to be the fish in the sea, and then starting in 1st grade and up, they're pirates. But some, for example, like Bethany's kid's going to be a parrot. There's like a lot of, kids had a lot of say in what they were going to be, so they're all excited. See, that's the key. I'm like, you want to be a dog on a pirate ship? You got it. You want to be a crow? All right. So that was really funny. Anyway, so that's something to look forward to. And then, like Jen said, we've been doing a whole lot of work in curriculum at Shutesbury, and we are really further ahead in our ELA work that we're doing, our literacy work. And we had on Monday 14 people from across the Union come and observe an EL lesson in a classroom, some targeted phonics based work in a classroom, an intervention lesson, and then a kindergarten lesson. So they observed 4 different things, and also our push-in model of intervention, where our reading specialist pushes into the class to support the class instead of pulling kids out. And then we had a debrief with those people. And so it was from like 8:20 until noon on Monday, and it was really awesome. And we got to highlight all of the work that we've been doing, the phenomenal teachers that we have. But then we also said, this is not like a finished product. This is us just trying things out and seeing what works for kids. And our colleagues from across the Union really loved it, and we loved learning from them and showing them what we've done too. So it's been really great. MCAS is coming up, so that is, and like I always say, we do not teach the test, but we do make sure our students are prepared for the test, so it's not a scary thing. We don't spend the year, with MCAS practice books, or we don't do anything like that. But around this time, we do start to practice a little bit about what the passage might look like, what is the vocabulary that might be used. We might do a few practice things on the computer, so they're understanding that they all take it on a computer, how that works. We do some writing responses, typing, just to make sure we understand what word count means and how we have to add punctuation and all of that. So that's starting. And then I just wanted to do a quick shout out to our PTO. We've had some really fun events in the past bit of time. We had a event with Leverett Elementary School down at the Mullins ice skating rink. That was really well attended and really fun. They had an event at Quarters this past week, and then they're working on a soup and games night that's going to happen in March. So I really appreciate what they do to help us have that vibrant community that we were missing for a long time because of the big C. And that's all I have for you.
Jackie, do we have a date for the Pirates play?
We don't, because I don't know exactly how much time I need, but beyond that, 6th grade has a lot of events, and 6th grade has a lot of the lead characters. And so I just have to make sure the events are like mapped in a way where I'm going to be able to have what I need from them. So it's either going to be the last week of May or the second week of June. So just because of things that are already planned. So we're still trying to hammer it down, but I'm going to try to hammer it down soon.
Just keep us posted. We'll see it on the road town, I'm sure. Any questions for Jackie? Okay. Amherst Pelham Representatives Report. Anything to really report there, Steve?
I'll keep it quick. We've been meeting once a month because it's budget season, and the region with the other 2 districts have a lot of work to do. But we did approve a new school calendar for next year. And there's one big change, that Amherst is now going to have their once a month early release day on Friday. So it will no longer coincide with Shutesbury and Leverett's Wednesday. So that takes care of that whole big mess of trying to get the buses lined up on that day. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, and we're still pushing forward with the turf field. And Susie, we understood when we came up with that proposal last March that those CPA funds could not be used for the actual turf, but they can be used for drainage and grading and those kind of things, but they would not be used to purchase the actual turf.
I know that turf is, there's a lot of feelings behind that turf.
Well, it looks like at this point that they're gonna ban it for a lot of issues, but the one thing that's gonna remain standing is high school athletic fields. That one's gonna get a pass.
Okay. Any questions for Steve? All right. Union 28, I think Jennifer, you sort of hit it. I don't know if there was anything else.
Nope, just that we have an upcoming meeting in March.
And I don't have anything to report from the collaborative. Okay, moving on. First reading on policies DGA, DH, DI. I think that's an I. DIE, DJ, DJE, DK. I guess I'll defer to the committee. Do you feel you want to read through each one here, or do you feel comfortable reading them at home and sending in any? Okay. All right. So we're going to move to the next section, which is the second reading. And I believe on this one, we're going to also be voting. doesn't say that, but. Right, Jennifer, do I have that right?
Oops, and yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So let's, make this easy for Trevor. How about, Julie, do you want to make motions and Bethany can second, and we'll do that on each one? Okay. All right. So, go ahead, Julie.
Let me unmute. Okay, I move that we accept the grants proposals and special projects DD policy.
Second.
Okay. And discussion. Okay, all in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Rose, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay,
Okay, I move that we adopt the budget deadlines and schedules, the DBC policy.
Second.
okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Rose,
Taylor.
I.
Taylor, I.
Perfect.
Okay, I propose that we adopt the budget planning DBD policy.
Second.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did.
Any discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Rose, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
For a twist, I'm going to suggest that we adopt the budget adoption procedures.
Second.
DBG, right? Okay,
Mhm.
all right, any discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Rose, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay, and to complete my power play, DBJ, Budget Transfer Authority, let's just go ahead and adopt that.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Hayes, aye.
Martel, I.
Rose, I.
Taylor, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay.
Special shout out to the policy committee I work with. They're so easy and collegial and collaborative. Yay. And thank you, Caitlin, for coming to our exciting policy meetings to help us through our fiscal policies.
Yes, thank you.
There are some serious barn burners.
Mhm. So that said, we have the next policy committee on Thursday, March 16th at 6:30, followed by the school committee at 7. Union 28 will be on March 20th. Okay,
Be there or-
anything? Oh. Anything else this evening? Okay, that said, this meeting is adjourned. You all have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye,
Everybody.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.